Okay, I've showed you a little bit about trigger processing. We looked at when entering and leaving field. Now we're looking at key processing, which happens when the user presses a key while their cursor is blinking at enter selection. And I've showed you how to intercept the built-in at key D, the built-in D key for FilePro, and make it a little bit more robust by asking them a password first. And if they don't know the password, not falling down through to the question, which asks them if they want to delete it. That's kind of neat stuff. But let's do one more quick thing with trigger processing. What other kinds of things can you do besides operate a command? Can you manipulate data? Can you do things on your record? Well, absolutely. Let's write another at key. Let's write an at key. How about an at key C? Okay. Put my little comment and show what it is. And what do I want to do for this process? Let's look at the fields. If they press a C, what I want to do is fill in the date called with today's date, and I want to fill in the time with today's time. So I'm going to do that by saying field 16, which is date called. In this case, let's make let's use the map name. I could use either one. Date called equals, what am I going to set it equal to? Well, I want it to be today's date. Well, just like FilePro has system maintained fields like creation date and created by that it stores in the first 20 bytes of every record for each record, it also maintains some system-wide system maintained fields, things that don't get stored on records, just information about the environment. What time is it? What day is it? What machine am I on? Lots of different things are stored by FilePro in these little @ system maintained fields. One of them is today's date. What is today's date? Well, you can take a guess. TD. We'll fill the last called date, the date called, with that TD. And then we'll do another thing. We'll put a semicolon, do another command. I always put 2 spaces just so there's a little clarity. And let's see what this other command is called. It was 16, and it's called time called. Date called and time called. By the way, they're not case sensitive, as you remember. We could put time called. And what do you imagine this one is? Sure. At TM. Makes sense, doesn't it? There's nothing else I want to do with this prompt, so I'm just going to do semicolon, end. I don't have to put the end down here and test an if statement. This is all I want to do when they press this at key. Every time they press this a C key on any record, I want to fill up the date called and the time called with at TM. At TD and at TM. By the way, this will just give you an idea of how anal I am. I just physically can't leave this way. I either have to have that, or I have to do it the right way this way. I can't have simple little incongruities on my tables. I've gotten to the point where I just like them all to be very consistent, very neat, and do one thing one way all the time. And you know what? It helps me be a better programmer to do things like that. I don't leave extra things on the table. I don't leave things spelled wrong or you will never, ever, ever, ever see any of my code with only one space here or no spaces. I mean, look how hard it is to read that code. You don't really know what's happening. Date called equals FTD, semicolon, time called. You know, it's just you have to figure out what's going on. So I always put 2 spaces. Not 1, not 3, 2. Just like I did over here. So you might think that's kind of an anal, retentive thing to do, but it really isn't. It's just good programming style. Now let's store this table out. Remember, this is a trigger that's only going to happen when we go to enter selection on any particular record. Now if we're looking at this record, we can see that let's see, do we have date and time called on this record? Yeah. We have last called. Oh, we have W variable A just hanging out there from before. There you go. Let me show you how anal I am. Remember, I don't want junk like that hanging around. That's from something else we did before, and so I don't want it here anymore. Okay, now let's go do the test that I wanted to do. Of course, I screwed myself by losing the customer name. That's okay. Okay, inquire update now to go to that record. Now, what I'm going to do is show you what happens when I press the C key. On this particular, we've added this C key to the table. If I press C, bang, it changes the date called and it changes the time to the time that it is. It's 6:53 in the morning. Now, if I press C again, you'll notice that it changed only the time. It's the same date. If I go to this record and I do the same thing, Now here's an important thing. Is this record blank or not blank? I'm going to press the browse. We're on record 2. I'm going to press browse, and we're going to see that we were on a record that's not there because this record is the Jim record. So here's record number 3. If I go to record number 2, I can see it's a deleted record. It's absolutely not a record like this where there's just nothing. I'm going to store. Remember, I can't store a record with nothing. Pressing escape, it's going to force me to put a customer code. So if I see anything at all on any record, I know that it's a filled record. In other words, I've come to this record, and now it wants me to put this. I can finally store the record. Yes, everything looks hunky-dory. And no, I don't want a hard copy because it's a new record. Okay, now I've stored this record. It's not completely blank. But sometimes it's confusing as to whether you have a blank record or deleted record. Okay, so I'm going to delete this record. And let's see, it's going to ask me if I know the password. Yes, I do. And yes, I want to delete it. Now we're in a blank record. What would happen if I press the C key? I'm pressing the C key. Here it's putting the time and the date into a completely blank record. I don't want to do that, do I? Because I'm going to press delete. I'm going to go into 5. I'm going to go into input processing. I'm going to press F9, and this time I'm going to go to a known label. And to go to a label name, I can press tilde, and then put the label, at key C. I'm going to go right to that part in the code. Here we are. If you want to just use the F9 key, if I'm at the top of the table and I press F9 and I know that something in my processing that I want to go to says date called, I can just type the beginning of that and hit enter, and I'm just at the same place. But I find if I know the label, it's easier to just jump right to the label name by typing it in with a tilde. You can either just type in what you're looking for or label names with a tilde in front of them. So here we're going to say date called equals this, this, and this. What I really want to do is I only want to do this if the record is new. It's not new. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to test. If they press a C, I'm going to say, is that CD equal to null? If it is, it's a new record, a blank record rather, one that has not been stored on a hard disk, and I want to end. I don't want to fill up 2 fields in what essentially is a deleted or a blank record. It's not there. Well, a deleted record, one that's available. It's not a deleted record. It's a free record. I don't want to put anything on a free record. It hasn't been stored yet. I'm blinking enter selection. I want all those other fields in it first. Customer code, name, address. So I'm going to quickly test every single, when they press the C key, is this a new record? I mean a free record. If it's free and unused and doesn't have any data in it, I want to end. Otherwise, I want to do this trick. Let's save this record out. If I go to B and Quarte and add, I go to that blank record that was here before. Here's the blank record, and I press the C key. Oh no, it's not the blank record. Here's what happened. By doing that before, we made this record a new record, and you see how bad it is. We not only made it, we made this record a used record. We actually filled it by filling those 2 fields with the at key. We filled it and wrote it out with this information. And why it's so bad is we wrote out this record without a customer code, which we know is must filled. We wrote it out with a customer type without even a name and address. We wrote this record out. So let me delete this record. And okay, now the record's deleted. Now it's a free record again until I press update and start writing stuff on it. Will my trigger code that happens when I press the C key work? Press C. No, nothing happened because it's at CD on this record is equal to null. You don't even see this record on the browse. You see the next record down. If I hit enter, we're really on, by going to the browse doesn't show free records. And by the way, if I were to go to the browse and put on the browse the system maintained field for record number, okay, we will see that we're jumping 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There is no record 2. If I go to on record 1, I press the down arrow, record 2 is available. Okay? All right.